This is the question asked in today's SkillTrack Daily Challenge. So in the first two lines of our integer, we will be given two integers. So the first integer represents the feet and then the second integer represents the integers. Similarly, in the second line also, the first integer represents the feet and the second integer represents the inches. So now our task is to add both of these values and print the new two integers which represents the feet as well as inches. So first we will be adding the feet and we will be adding the inches. So the value of feet is 4 and 2. So 4 plus 2 will be 6. So that will be the new feet. And then when we are going to add the inches, the values are 11 and 10. So 11 plus 10 will be 21. So this is the new values of feet and inches. And it is given in the question that 1 feet is equal to 12 inches. But here we have 21 inches. So the inches value is more than 1 feet. So what we can do is we can just increment the feet by subtracting the inches value with 12. So when we are going to do like this, the feet value will be incremented by 1. So from 6 it becomes 7 and then the new updated value will be 21 minus 12 which is equal to 9. So when we are going to add these two values, this is the new feet and distance. So in the first line of our output, we have to print this value. So in the first line, we can see that we are also printing 7, 9. So now we have printed the first line. And in the third line of our input, we are given an integer x. So here the value of x is equal to 5. So now what we have to do is, we have to add the value 5 with the inches. So now the current value is 7, 9. So the new value will become 7, 9 plus 5. So 9 plus 5, the value will be 14. So the new value of feet and inches is 7, 14. So here again the inches value is greater than 12. So we have to reduce it. So we have to do 14 minus 12. And when we are going to do this, the feet value will be incremented. So the feet is now 8 and the value of updated inches is 14 minus 12 which is equal to 2. So in the second line of our output, we have to print this particular value. So actually our task is to define a class named distance in which we have to implement some methods in order to perform these actions. So first let us see the code which is given to us in hello.py. So this is the code which is given to us in hello.py. So first we are importing the class named distance and then we are accepting two integers named feet and inches, and then we are creating an object named dist1 using the distance class, and then again we are accepting two integers and we are creating an object using the distance class. So we have two objects named dist1 and dist2, and after that we are accepting an integer x as input. And now we are adding the objects dist1 and dist2. So it is not possible to directly add two objects. So what we have to do is we have to override the add method in the class named distance so that the values in the object will be added and a new object with the new values should be returned by the add method. So we have to define the logic for that in the distance class. And after adding both of the objects, we are printing the object named dist3. So again it is not possible to print the object directly. So whenever we are going to print an object, we will be getting some hexadecimal value because the object will be converted into a string and it will print some hexadecimal values. So in order to print the values in the object dist3, we have to override the str method also. And after this we are calling a method named add inches for the object dist3. So we have to create a method named add inches in the distance class which should add x inches to the object dist3, and after that again we are printing the new value of dist3. So now let us see how we will be defining the class named distance in order to print the values as per the required output which we have seen. So the syntax for creating a class is class and then the class name. So first I am creating a class named distance and then first I am defining the constructor init. So in the arguments I am giving self, and then in the arguments we are given two values, feet as well as inches. So I am receiving them in the arguments, and then I am initializing the values. So I am setting self.feet is equal to feet and self.inches is equal to inches. So this is the constructor. And next we have to override the add method, because after creating two objects dist1 and dist2, we were adding those objects. So in order to perform the addition, we are overriding this add method. So here I am overriding the add method. So in the arguments I am accepting two objects, object 1 and object 2. So we have to add the values in this object 1 and object 2. So I am creating two variables first, named feet sum and inches sum. So I'm adding the feet values in both the values and I will be storing it in feet sum. So I'm setting feet sum is equal to object 1.feet plus object 2.feet. Similarly the inches. So I'm adding object 1.inches and object 2.inches and I'm storing it into inches sum. So now we have found the feet sum and inches sum, but there can be cases where the inches sum is greater than or equal to 12. So in those cases we have to reduce it. We have to keep the value of inches less than 12. So first I am checking whether the inches sum is greater than or equal to 12. So if this is true, then I am creating a while loop. So in the while loop I am giving the condition inches sum greater than or equal to 12. So what happens is, until the inches sum becomes less than 12, this loop will be iterating. So in every iteration of this loop, the value of inches sum must be decremented by 12. So whenever we are reducing 12 inches, the feet will be incremented by 1. So I am incrementing feet by 1. So feet sum plus is equal to 1. So finally, after the execution of this while loop, the value of feet sum and inches sum would have been updated. So now this add method should return an object with these new values. So I am creating an object for the distance class itself. So distance and the values are feet sum and inches sum. So this new object will now be stored into the dist3 in hello.py. So now the object dist3 has the sum of dist1 and dist2. So next we were printing the object dist3. So it is not possible to print the object. So in order to do that, we are overriding the str method. So in the str method, we have to return the feet as well as the inches. So to access the feet, we have to use the dot operator. So self.feet and self.inches. So we have to return both of these as a string value separated by a space. So we have to define the str method like that. And after printing the dist3, we were adding x inches using a method named add inches. So now we have to define that method. So here I am defining it. So the method name is add inches, and first I am accepting the self in the arguments and the value x. So now we have to add x inches to this particular object. So in order to access the inches, using dot operator, I am accessing the inch. So self.inches plus is equal to x. So now the inches value is incremented by x. But again, it can be greater than or equal to 12. So again we have to check it. If self.inches is greater than or equal to 12, then we have to reduce the value. So again I am creating a while loop. So in this while loop, we have to iterate until the value self.inches becomes less than 12. So in every iteration of this loop, we have to decrement the self.inches by 12 and we have to increment the self.feet by 1. So finally, after the execution of this loop, the value will be updated. And again, when we are going to print the updated value of the object dist3, the str method will override it and print the correct values of feet and inches. So this is the logic to solve today's daily challenge. Thank you for watching.